What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Drive for Show, DFS for Dough here on RotoGrinders. Another week of golf talk is upon us, and you might recognize a familiar face back in the saddle this week. So happy to be back in our usual slot with the usual co-hosts this week. You've got myself, Justin Van Zuiden, and Mr. Notorious, Derek Farnsworth, is back off of paternity leave. He's got a beautiful baby girl at home. Noto, congrats, and hope you're doing well and we're able to enjoy some time off.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's been awesome. Have a 9-year-old and then starting over with the baby girl. So it's been awesome. She's been perfect, and it's hard to believe it's been 2 months already. Time's just been flying by. So yeah, good to be back. Hope everything's been well with you too.
Yeah, Steve and Noto were commiserating about their baby girls before the show, and mine are 15 and 12. So it's time does fly. I can attest to that. And but it's been going good this summer. It's about 100 and some odd degrees here today, so a good day to stay indoors and talk some golf. It's supposed to be really nice here in the Midwest, though, over the next 5 or 6 days. And yeah, the kids are training for cross country and such here in the fall, so they'll be excited for some cooler weather. And we're excited to have the usual band back together for golf. So we will try. I know for those of you who have done our snake drafts with us in the past, we haven't done those for the past couple of months. We'll try to bring that back tonight if we can get enough people. I know it's not the strongest field this week, but we've got a decent middle tier. I think this is an interesting tournament. So if we can get 6 people together, we'll do a snake draft at the end of the show. If you are watching us on YouTube now and you are interested in doing one, maybe throw a message in the chat just so we can try to coordinate that towards the end of the show. Of course, Noto wasn't here last week, but he's still been doing his written content over at RotoGrinders, so it's not like he's been completely off the grid for the last couple months. So we usually do a quick recap back to the week before, but ended up becoming quite the Sunday at the 3M Open. Kurt Kitayama ends up taking it down with a 6-under round on Sunday. Sam Stevens was in second place, and then three-way tie. Jake Knapp led for a good chunk of the tournament, finished as part of that. I had both Stevens and Knapp in my GPP article last week, so was kind of hoping that one of those guys would take it down, but they ended up falling just a bit short. How was last week for you? Or I guess how were things for DFS during your time off?
Yeah, didn't hit any big tournaments. Didn't get the baby swag that many end up getting, but maybe it's still coming. She's only 8 weeks old, so we got some time. But yeah, it was a good week for me. I had Kitayama and Stevens in my main lineup. So first 1-2, you'd think it'd be really great, but ended up having a lot of bad guys with them, but still ended up being a decent week. And yeah, Kitayama going 60 and then 65 on the weekend. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, really impressive couple of rounds there, middle or to finish off the tournament for him. And he's in the field again. I think now I'm second guessing whether I think he's in the field again this week. Let's see.
Yeah,
he is. Yeah, he's at 8,800 on DraftKings. And another important thing to note as we head into this week is that this is the last event before the playoffs begin. They changed the FedEx Cup playoffs a couple years ago to where it's just the top 70 in the standings that make the playoffs. I think it used to be the top 100 or 120, and then they'd cut it down to 70, but they took out a playoff event. Now it's just the top 70. And then those that end up making the second playoff event, which is the top 50, end up getting into all the big prize pool signature events for next year. So very important couple of weeks. I believe everybody from 60 through like 95 is in the field this week. So that makes for a really deep kind of middle tier. This isn't the strongest field at the top, but pretty deep in the middle. And so you've got guys that are right around that 70 cutoff that'll be fighting for their FedEx Cup playoff lives this week. We've talked many times about whether or not you can play the motivation angle. I used to play that a little bit more until I've kind of realized that sometimes pressure makes you play worse. And so I've kind of adapted to that line of thinking over the last few years, which I think you've kind of had all along. I'll concede that you're correct, at least that it's probably not the biggest factor when it comes to, hey, this guy needs to do well to make the playoffs, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to.
Yeah, I like the storylines around the bubble, but I don't think if you need to play well, that means you necessarily can just turn it on one week. Maybe some can, but I think the added pressure might work the opposite for many. So I'm not putting any stock into the FedEx Cup standings. I'll definitely be watching, who's on the bubble on Sunday. I think that's always fun. But yeah, I'm kind of with you, not factoring into my decisions this week.
And for those of you who are interested, the 5 golfers just above the cut line right now are Emiliano Grillo, Cam Davis, Patrick Rogers, Benny On, and Matty Schmid. The 5 golfers just outside the playoff bubble right now are Nikolai Højgaard, Keith Mitchell, Chris Kirk, Christian Bezuidenhout, and Gary Woodland. So, and Kevin Roy, 76. Shout out to Noto's man, Kevin Roy there, who played well in your absence. Kevin Roy has picked it up over the last couple of months. So you didn't get the baby swag, but Kevin Roy got it for you.
Yeah, he had a pretty low round on Sunday. He's been playing well, so it's good to see. He was a few years ago when he was just like 6K popping in the model. We didn't know who he was. Look at him now. So,
and I believe he's in this field he's 45th in putting over the last 36 rounds. So the putters come around. No surprise that the results have come around for him along with the putter. But we're burying the lead there. We'll get into the golfers here in just a bit. Anything else from last week or general storylines while you were away that you didn't get a chance to throw out there? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think I missed 2 majors. U.S. Open, we saw J.J. Spawn. That was wild. Still can't believe he won a major. Played great on the back 9 on Sunday. And then obviously Scotty Scheffler just ran away with the Open Championship. So, yeah, it's been a fun stretch of golf. I can't wait for the Ryder Cup coming up. And I never know how to feel about the FedEx Cup playoffs, the no-cut events, limited fields. I don't know. How do you feel about the playoffs?
Yeah, I don't love it. I mean, I think the first week is okay with 70, but the 50-man and the 30-man, and they're changing I don't know what they're doing to the final event, but they've scrapped the starting strokes thing, I think, for this year. I don't know how they're planning to navigate that. I haven't read up on it that much yet, but yeah, not my favorite 3 weeks of the year for sure. I think the Live Tour has proven that you can't buy fans based on prize money. Like the fans don't care what the dollar amount is that the golfer wins, right? They care about who they gambled on or who they, put in their DFS lineup or who they're just rooting for generally. So I think
golfers don't even care that much.
Yeah.
Either.
I mean, I think last Sunday there was like nothing on in the morning and I turned the Live Golf on for like an hour. And that's the first, length of time I've watched the Live Tour since it's been in existence. So it's just, the prize money thing just doesn't really do it for the fans. And I think that's kind of come through at this point. But and then the Open Championship was the Scheffler domination and Chris Goddard, my guy that I've, backed for a long time, of course, didn't play him when he won in Scotland. And Kyle Murray wrote him up on Scores and Odds that week. And I'm just bitter that all my years of Goddard dollars just went to Kyle for him finally winning in Scotland, which was like the 1 week that I wasn't on him at all. But good for Goddard playing well. He's finally starting to capitalize on his talent as well.
I think Kyle hit Kitayama last week too, so we better check out his picks up there this week.
And Keegan, I believe, when Keegan won. So Kyle's been on a heater. We'll see if that can carry over to some of us here as we get to the FedEx Cup playoffs. So, all right, let's go ahead and move along. Windom Championship this week. Sedgefield is your host course. This one's been around for a while. It's been the last event before the playoffs, even though they've changed the playoff formats around. This has been the lead-in event to the FedEx Cup playoffs pretty much every year. So you've got plenty of course history data to look back on if you wish to do that. And why don't you start us off with the usual course breakdown? What do we got this week?
Yeah, so this event, once they changed the playoff format down to 3 events, this one kind of got screwed because this used to be, all the big names were here. Now we have one of the weaker fields of the season. But, I still like the course, Sedgefield Country Club in North Carolina. It's a par 70, just over 7,100 yards, typically around average in terms of difficulty. And then winning scores usually around 20 under par. The fairways here pretty narrow, and a lot of guys end up just clubbing down off the tee. I was looking at the rabbit hole, and only 52% of guys hit driver off the tee at this event last year. So one of the lowest on the PGA Tour. You're going to see a lot of guys clubbing down. And then if you hit the fairway, it's extremely easy to hit the green. 83% greens in regulation rate from the fairway. One of the highest that you'll see all year. So, yeah, target those accuracy guys off the tee. Good iron players. Can probably expect a lot of greens to be hit. So I'm not looking at around the green too much. And, yeah, pretty standard par 70 where, you know, kind of just everyone's in play. You don't necessarily have to bomb it or be great around the green.
Yeah, definitely a second shot golf course. I'm in agreement there. Don't mind taking some guys that can get hot with the putter, given those high green and regulation percentages for guys that are hitting the fairway. So sometimes with that winning score getting to that 20 under par range, somebody gets hot with the putter. That can be a difference maker here as well. So we'll give that a little bit of a boost this week. Guys who are better on the shorter par 70 tracks also get a little bit of a leg up. So all right, let's go ahead and start breaking it down. Again, mention that this field is pretty deep in the middle, but definitely not at the top. So the top three priced guys on DraftKings are Matt Fitzpatrick, Keegan Bradley, and Ben Griffin. Fitzpatrick is the most expensive guy, and he is 43rd in the FedEx Cup standings. Keegan Bradley is 10th, and Ben Griffin is 7th. So those are the high-end names that you're going to see this week. Not a whole lot of golfers in that top, say, 30 of the FedEx Cup are playing this week. I would imagine Fitzpatrick got the bump above the other two simply because his recent form has been really solid. 17th, 8th, 4th, and 4th his last 4 events. Of course, you got Keegan with the upcoming Ryder Cup discussion, who's been having a really good season of his own, hasn't missed a cut since April. And then you've got Ben Griffin, who took a week off last week. I had to do a double take on that, but he did, which was probably wise after a couple of missed cuts. Given how often he has played, you got a sense that he was maybe a little bit fatigued, especially after the Open Championship. So Fitzpatrick, Keegan, Ben Griffin, not the top names that we're used to seeing, but that's what we have this week. So A, are you looking to prioritize any of those guys? And if so, do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I typically wouldn't in a field like this because I like the balanced approach more since there's not a ton of win equity up top. But I really like the lower 7s and a couple guys in the high 6s. So I'll probably end up starting most lineups with one guy up here. My model agrees with the RG model. Ben Griffin's kind of projecting better than anyone else here. He's coming off of back-to-back missed cuts. But prior to that, he'd been awesome. I think he had 7 straight top 15s, including a win during that stretch. He's been good on courses with high GIR rates. He's been good at this course, a couple top 10s here. So I like Griffin. I'll play some Keegan as well. And then I played Fitz at both of the events across the pond. But, man, it's hard to pay 10-6, 26% ownership for a guy that's been pretty bad the last 18 months. I don't know. But if you trust the recent form and, like, the overall skill set, I certainly get it. But I'm probably ranking them Griffin, Bradley, and Fitz.
Yeah, definitely Griffin number 1 for me as well. We're in agreement. I don't have a strong take between Keegan and Fitzpatrick. Tough to ignore that recent form from Fitz, but Griffin is my starting point. I mean, he's got a 4th and a 7th here 2 of the last 3 years. All those top 15s you mentioned, 6 in a row prior to those 2 missed cuts. Not really going to hold a couple missed cuts against him. I mean, one was at the John Deere, which is always a high variance event. And then one that was, overseas. So I'm if that lowers Griffin's ownership at all, then that's even better with those results here and how otherwise consistently strong he has been this season. He is definitely my favorite at 10-1 there on DK, though it is worth noting that like Fitzpatrick is 20-1. The others are like 25-1. So there is definitely no clear-cut guy at the top. And if you do like those balanced builds better, that's totally fine. I can see either approach working this week. I agree with you that you said, normally we don't like the value in these types of fields, but there are quite a bit of strong value guys in the lower 7Ks in particular that I think are viable this week. So I think any approach will work. I'll have some lineups that take it each way. But most of the ones where I'm starting at the top, I agree. I will start with Ben Griffin. All right, let's go ahead and move down into the next range. We got the 9Ks here. We got Bobby Mack, Hideki Matsuyama, Jordan Spieth, Aaron Rai, Harry Hall still up in the 9Ks. Jake Knapp up to 9,100 after his big week last week. And Akshay Bhatia at 9,000, rounding out that tier. Any strong takes in this second range for you?
No strong takes from me. I think Aaron Rai makes a lot of sense. He's been consistent. Won here last year. Typically really good on these courses that require good iron play. You always kind of question his putter, but it has been better on Bermuda than any other surface. So probably my favorite. The guy I wanted to get your take on is Harry Hall. You played him a lot over the last couple of years. He's been on fire. Top 30 pretty much every week that he's been teeing it up. And then the stats look good. All the comps I'm looking at look good, but for every reason, he's 0 for 2 here with 2 pretty bad missed cuts. So what are you doing with Harry Hall?
I mean, he's just a better golfer now, in my opinion, that I'm willing to forgive those missed cuts. He's made 13 cuts in a row, hasn't missed a cut since March, I believe. And I mean, we know the putter is the strong point with him. I mentioned, I'm okay targeting good short game guys this week. If he gets hot with the putter, he can absolutely contend in these weaker field type of events, like him more in a shootout. So yeah, the course history stood out to me too with the 0 for 2, but he's playing so much better and so much more consistent right now than he was those past couple years that I think that's the tiebreaker for me. And he basically, he's really strong with the putter, and it's not like he has a major weakness either. So I'm in on Team Harry Hall this week, I think.
Yeah, I think I am too. He's probably my second favorite in this range. Knapp, I like him more on driver heavy courses. He's been great recently too, but I just don't really know if he's going to be able to hit a ton of drivers here. Everyone else, I mean, Bobby Mack's been really good on par 70s, so I can maybe look his way. That's pretty much it for me. Do you like anybody else here?
Yeah, Hall definitely my favorite. I would put I don't know who I would put. I would probably put Rye second. I think I agree with you there. And then I put Knapp third. I'm fine with him, but it's definitely Harry Hall. If I was building one lineup, you can go Griffin and Hall and still have 7,600 per player. It's also a different discussion around these top guys simply because, right, in the past, if you're playing Scheffler or Rory, well, you can't play the 9K guys because you're starting with one of the top guys. But even still here, because the top guys are only, in the low 10s, you can play Griffin and Hall and still have 7,600 left per player, which is more than what you usually have when you're starting with Scheffler. So, Harry Hall is a clear favorite of mine in this range. I'll probably be underweight on the range as a whole. Prefer going into the 8s or, starting with 1 or even 2 of the guys in the 10s if you're up to it. So don't love the 9Ks as much.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's go ahead and move down into the 8K range then, where we've got quite a few names here. I won't list them all, but the upper half, you've got last week's winner Kitayama, Lucas Glover in here, who's a past champion at this event. Siwoo Kim, I see a couple tags on this week. Got some veterans in here, Adam Scott, Ricky Fowler, some younger guys, Clanton, Ryan Gerard in here. So an interesting mix of vets and newbies. What do you like in the 8Ks?
Yeah, I think it's a good week to go back to Siwoo Kim. Hasn't been great. He's missed 3 of his last 5 cuts, but this is a course that he loves. Very accurate driver of the ball, very good on approach. And then, he's got a couple of top 3 finishes here. We talk about him a lot. He's a guy that plays the same course as well each and every year. This is one of them. So I'll definitely play Siwoo. We currently have him at, less than 10% ownership, which I like a lot. I like Glover too. He's been playing pretty well. Another one of those accurate ball strikers that I think make a lot of sense here. I was trying to see. So yeah, last time Kitayama won, he went on to miss 4 straight cuts after that. So I don't know what to do with that information.
Which was when? When was the last time he won?
So he won the Arnold Palmer in 2023.
Okay, hasn't been as long as I thought.
So yeah, I don't know what to do with that because I would like him here on paper for sure. He's been striking the ball really well recently. But, the rest of the 8s, I like Grazerman at 8,200. He's had 4 runner-up finishes in the last 14 months. This was one of them. He's a guy that has missed a couple cuts in a row, but they've been very close to the number. And similar to Harry Hall, his stats are, not the best ball striker, but he's elite on and around the greens. So if everybody's hitting greens, you got to like those good putters. So he's probably my favorite. don't mind some Denny, and then up top with Siwoo and Glover.
What are we doing with the 6 out of 7 top 30 finishes from Ricky Fowler? Seems strange to see him at 8,500 again.
Yeah, he projects so poorly that I didn't realize
even
he'd been
just
playing
cross
so
him
well.
off the list.
I mean, yeah, and he's 0 for 2 here.
I'm not playing him. I just thought he was worth mention.
He's one of those guys. You want him to play well. I just don't. It's going to take a lot for him to get in my player pool.
Yeah, especially if we've got him at 15% right now. It's a no from me as well. My rankings kind of in this range. Totally agree on Glover. I wrote him up this week. Grazerman would be my second. So I think, and I don't mind Sam Stevens down at 8K as well, coming off a strong week last week. Another guy where it seems like the course fit is pretty good. The overall results are a little bit better than the longer term statistical indicators. And Stevens' overall numbers have started coming around as well. So he'd be third or probably fourth in this group for me. I'd go Glover, Siwoo, and Grazerman ahead of him probably. So I think we're pretty well in agreement on that tier. I don't mind sprinkling in a few others as well if you're going with that complete balance build. Probably not doing as much as the veterans there this week. Adam Scott seemingly doesn't have the upside at that salary, and Fowler just mentioned I'm out there. So anything else on the 8Ks?
I think that's it for me. Sungjae's got the great course history, but his approach play has been so bad that I can't do it.
Yeah, he's been really bad. I'm probably not doing that this week as well. After we got Cam Young wrong all year, he did have a couple good finishes while you were away, but did not play well at the Open Championship. He starts the 7Ks. We'll do the upper part of the 7Ks here. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Nikolai Højgaard is the first golfer out of the playoffs right now, and while I'm not necessarily using that as the angle, he does have 3 straight top 25s on his resume, kind of starting to round into the form that maybe we expected from him when he was first coming up on the PGA Tour. Some interesting other names in the upper part of the 7K range. Pearson Coody had a good finish last week. JT Poston's in here. Davis Thompson. Højgaard is probably my favorite. I like Coody this week as well. Finally coming off that T3 finish last week. He's had a dynamite year on the Korn Ferry Tour. So Nikolai Højgaard, and Coody are 2 that I like in the upper part of the 7K range. What do you got in here?
Yeah, if you're chasing upside, I think those 2 are the ones you want to go with. Nikolai projects really well for me. And then you mentioned Coody's results recently, 3rd, 4th, 7th, 3rd, 2nd, all in the last 8 weeks. Just playing great on the Korn Ferry. And then we finally saw it last week on the PGA Tour too. So yeah, I like those 2 a lot for tournaments. For cash games, I think JT Poston's really safe. The guy that hits a ton of fairways, good short game, probably not going to hurt you. I like Davis Thompson a little bit. And then my model always likes Keith Mitchell. At this point, he's my new Cam Young. Just never get him right.
Yeah, I haven't gotten him right in a long time. We used to be good friends.
I don't know. Yeah, same. I don't know what happened. But yeah, maybe Bud Cauley. He's been missed the cut his last time out. But other than that, he's had a pretty good year, and doesn't look like a ton of people are looking his way at 7,500.
Yeah, I don't mind Bud Cauley as well. Grillo's another guy that's kind of on the fringe of that cut line. If you want to trust the putter, he's had some good results. Outside of that alternate field event, he played at the Barracuda a few weeks back and missed the cut, but otherwise he's made quite a few cuts in a row. But I prefer Højgaard, Coody, maybe Cauley, if you're looking for like a ranking of those guys. And I am still out on Keith Mitchell as well. All right, so let's look to the lower part of the 7K range. Seems weird that, all of a sudden Tony Finau and Max Homa are down in this range, and it doesn't feel strange. You've got the other Højgaard brother in here, Alex Smalley, who's right, and Seabez are both right on that cut line for the FedEx Cup playoffs. So is Echeverria. So this is where you're getting a lot of those guys that are around that 70th ranking in this lower part of the 7K range. Anything standing out to you here?
Yeah, I like a lot of guys down here. Alex Smalley lives in North Carolina. He's a member at Sedgefield since 2020, so he's got the home game angle. we've seen that work both ways in the past, but when he makes a cut, he tends to finish pretty high. I think in his last 21 starts, he's either missed a cut or finished top 20, 35. Every week except last week, he finally broke that trend. But I think he's got
I bet him on scores and odds for a top 40 last week, and he missed it by one stroke.
Yeah, so I guess you could change it to T41 or better in every start or a missed cut. But 7,200 is not bad for a guy that's going to know the course well. Don't mind Seabez. He's been playing pretty well recently. Kevin Roy, like we mentioned, at 7K. Andrew Putnam, I think, is a really good course for him. He hits a lot of fairways. The irons are pretty good.
And he was really popular last week and missed the cut on the numbers. And he wasn't horrible, but tilted some people last week, I know.
And that was a Bombers course, so I think this one fits him a little bit better anyway. Yeah, who are the guys you like down here?
Yeah, totally agree on Putnam. He was the last guy I wrote up for my value in my GPP article this week. So, again, his horrible numbers up, not horrible, but I mean, he's never going to grade out well off the tee. But everything else is really solid. You get a shorter par 70 course where, there's only 2 par 5s. I think it's a great spot for Putnam. And kind of in agreement with you that this range is one you really want to target. I like the Smalley call. Right now I've got Seabez in my player pool. Let's see. Putnam, Seabez, Smalley. You could maybe throw in a Novak or something like that if you're on the shorter hitters. Not ready to buy into Homa just yet. Again, and Finau has just continued to be underwhelming. What's up with Finau? I mean, if this was 3 years ago and Finau's 7,400 in this field, he'd be like 40% owned.
I mean, I don't know if his family's still traveling with him to every event. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. Just kidding. But he just hasn't been great. And we typically like him on longer courses, more difficult courses. So it's tough to see him really getting going this week.
Yeah, and last week, he was Mr. Course History last week. I think we brought this up on the show last week. It was, he had gained 48 strokes over field average last week at that event for the last 5 years, and missed the cut again. So not even the course history where he's got good course history has been saving him right now. So yeah, until we start to see some of that, I think I'm out on Tony Finau. So. All right, let's see. Before we talk about the 6Ks, let's see if we can't get a snake draft at least fired up and see if we get people to join. We'll do that and then discuss the 6Ks and see where we're at from a snake draft perspective. So I'm going to go to, again, we haven't done this in a while. So if you are new to the show or you haven't participated in the snake draft before, if you are interested, we go to the main lobby on DraftKings, go to golf, filter by snake, and then we find a $5 snake draft, so that's accessible for everyone. And a $5 6-man right now is 1 out of 6. So if Noto and I join that, that'll make 3 out of 6, and then we'll see if we can get a couple people to fill that up and bring the snake draft back to life here at the end of the show. All right, did you get in there?
Yep.
All right, so we're at 3 of 6 right now, so we'll give you guys a few minutes to join if you're interested. Hopefully, can you grab that link and throw it in the YouTube?
I already did.
All right, perfect. So let's sometimes YouTube, if I open up the YouTube chat, it makes my microphone go haywire, and I don't want to go robot mode on everybody, so keeping that closed for now. All right, while we wait for that to fill, let's talk values. I know there's one guy in particular you like in the upper part of the 6K range. Any others that are popping in your model this week?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much all in on Victor Perez this week, which is something I've never said before. Bet him outright, playing a bunch of them in DFS. He's number 11 in my model, which is kind of crazy for guys at 6,900. Doesn't look like he's going to be all that popular.
What's the outright number?
110.
I was going to say it's got to be close to 100 if he's at that DFS price. It's usually around 100.
Yeah, so over the last 2 years, he's top 10 in this field in strokes gained on par 70 courses and strokes gained on less than driver courses and strokes gained on high green and regulation courses. He was T33 here last year. He's accurate off the tee, good iron player, makes a lot of putts. His one weakness is around the green, so I think that's kind of negated here if, he's going to be able to hit 80% of greens. So he's my favorite point per dollar option of the week. Famous last words. I'm sure it'll end poorly.
I'm on board with that as well. I think at that salary, that just seems a little bit too cheap for the upside that he brings to the table. I don't like a whole lot else in the 6Ks. I mean, if you're talking to somebody who might do better on a plotter type of track, Mark Hubbard is maybe a guy that comes to mind. People might ask about Jaeger at that salary, probably out on him right now, though he does seem cheap at 6.9K. Fishburne's had some good results, so not going too deep into the 6Ks here, but Hubbard is a guy that will probably end up sneaking into my player pool if I need another guy down there at the bottom. But there's so many guys in the low sevens that you just don't need to go super deep in here. So anybody else? We are full in the snake draft starting in 2 minutes, so this is perfect timing. Anybody else from your end?
Oh, in terms of guys that my model likes, Paul Peterson is 6,200. Don't know a lot about him. He finished second in the Corn Ferry Tour recently. Eric Cole is 6,900.
He was second. That was the alternate field PGA Tour event that Peterson.
Not bad. And then Eric Cole, back-to-back top 15s here. A guy that used to be 9K in fields like this.
Used to be. Not any. I mean, his used to be was like just a six to 8 month period where he was.
Do you remember him and Ben Griffin were like on the same level for?
Yeah, as they were right together pretty much every week.
Now Ben Griffin's 10,000.
10.1K. Eric Cole's gonna have to go back to dominating the mini tour events here pretty soon.
Yeah, get his confidence back. Have you seen Happy Gilmore 2 yet?
I haven't. Steve was asking me about that before the show. So I've heard, obviously, most of the reviews are negative, and I don't know if that's because people are expecting it to be something that it's not, or identical to the first one. But that if you try to do it identical, it's not going to be funny. So have you seen it, or I guess without giving spoilers for anybody that doesn't want them, but what was your opinion on it?
Yeah, watched it last night. Had zero expectations going in. Sequels are always bad. But there were so many good callbacks and cameos that I thought it was great. Had a great time watching it. Not like great cinema or anything, but it's a fun watch if you like the first one and like Adam Sandler.
All right, I'm going to try to share my screen. They changed these menus around. I've got a new laptop since the last time I did this. I think I got it figured out here. And I think we're rolling here in round number 1. So Noto's got the last pick. Not necessarily a bad week to have the last pick, I guess, depending on your thoughts on the value guys. But, Big Bank Hank was the one person sitting in the lobby before we all joined. So I'd imagine we might have a squatter at the beginning, but lots of RG logos and familiar faces at the end. Producer Steve probably helped us out by snagging the last spot. Thank you, Steve. Oh, Ben Griffin falls to me at number 3. I will gladly take that.
How are your Cardinals doing?
Not great. They're probably sellers here at the deadline, so they were doing really well for a while. So we were getting ready to go on our summer vacation. So we went on a road trip up through Wisconsin, went to the beach for a few days. We went to a Morgan Wallen show. They played at University of Wisconsin Stadium. And then we went to the Dells for a few days. So we did a little road trip through Wisconsin. Well, the Cardinals were playing pretty well. So at the beginning of our trip, we were like, hey, let's go down to St. Louis and catch a couple games. They were at home. They were playing the Cubs. They had won the first 2 games of the series. So I just decided on a whim, let's go watch the Cardinals play the Cubs. They had a Wednesday night game and a Thursday day game. So I was like, okay, we'll go down to St. Louis. We'll watch a couple games, and then we'll, go up to Wisconsin. So we did that on a whim, last minute decision to start our vacation and watch the Cardinals play 18 innings against the Cubs and score a grand total of no runs. And it's kind of been all downhill since then. So, that was not a great start to the family vacation. Added an extra, $1,000 to the trip or whatever, and scoreless in 2 games was not ideal.
Yeah, no fun.
They're a couple games over 500 right now, but they're fading pretty fast. So I just was rambling on my story and got auto-picked because that first round went too fast. But Kitayama's all right. We'll show 2 weeks in a row. He's going to get it done. But, yeah, it was hot and pretty much outdoors for the whole week and a half. But had a good time. The only rain we had was during the concert, of course. But the show went on, so just got a little wet.
As long as it's warm, I don't mind the rain.
Yeah, no, and it had been super hot, so it was interesting. The first big show that our kids had been to and stuff, and so we'll all remember getting soaked at the show. All right, rolling through the second round here. I'll put the draft board up. Has it been strange getting used to having a newborn again, or
I mean,
how's the sleep cycle going?
It feels like she's always been here, which is weird. And yeah, she's a great sleeper. She'll sleep. The other night she slept 9 hours straight, middle of the night.
Yeah,
we had to wake her up.
You're not getting that too often at 8 weeks.
I know. So yeah, we've been lucky so far. Just cross my fingers, hope it keeps going. So yeah, sleep schedule's been good, and yeah, everything's been great. But definitely I feel a bit younger now. You know, have to be a bit younger now that I'm newborn.
Yep. Well, sleep is the important thing. If that hurdle gets cleared, and you're golden.
I know. We hear so many horror stories that we're real lucky.
we got super lucky on that front. No, we did not have that significant issue with either of ours. All right, Hall, Rye, McCarthy, and Grazerman for Noto so far. Griffin, Kitayama, which was an auto pick. Højgaard, Nikolai Højgaard, and Gerard for me so far. We're rolling into round number 5 here. It's going by pretty quick. I don't know who to take here. So I'll take Collie if he's there for me.
And Thor Bjornsson was popular last week. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that was he got steamed up a few places. I also put him in my article last week. So that was my my article my article had the second and third place finishers and like 2 guys that finished in the bottom 10. So it was a hit or miss week if you were on the right or wrong portions of those players.
J3 wants us to give us a shout out to Dean. We can do that. Always shout out to Dean.
Noto was also wearing, I have learned at the beginning of the show, the Salt Lake Bees. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I thought he was wearing a Cardinals hat at first with like a different style. They got all those different styles now. But I like the icicle blue color style. It's not, kind of blends in with the background though.
It's actually just white and black.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, but it's blended.
The whole thing is white, or is the lettering a different color?
Lettering's white too.
Yeah, it is. So you can see that it's
like
white.
Off-white, and then
when you lean back, it looks like a baby blue type.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay, sorry, distracting me over here.
Nope. Now I'm gonna make you get auto picked.
Oh, Kevin, I didn't want that.
My
remember
bad.
when Tom Kim won here? Didn't he have like an 8 on his first hole?
I do remember that. All right, if he is there when it makes it back to me, I am taking Rasmus Højgaard just to have them both.
I like it.
We'll pair them up unless somebody wants to take him in the next 3 or 4 picks.
That's the way to do it, because one of them is going to play well, and if you have both, then one will be on your bench.
Right, one can be my bench guy. So no sniping from the next 2 or 3 that are.
Like Grelo's been playing well.
Yeah, he's on the bubble of the playoffs as well. He is 66 right now.
And he's been around forever too, since like the start of PGA DFS.
That's right. All right, true to my word. There you go. 3 picks to go. And we thank those of you for hanging out with us while we do the snake draft here. And if you like our show, be sure to leave us a thumbs up, subscribe to the RotoGrinders YouTube channel, and we love to have you check out more of our content over at RotoGrinders.com. Always appreciate your support here during the show as well. And for those of you who are watching us on playback, leave us those thumbs up anytime when you watch. Always appreciate that. And Noto got Putnam with the last pick. I like that call. So Noto ends up with Hall, Rye, McCarthy, Grazerman, Kim, Tom Kim, Kevin Yu, and Putnam. Producer Steve with Hideki, Bobby Mack, Stevens, Scott, Mitchell, Smalley, and Grillo. Ben Griffin, Kitayama, Nikolai, both Hoygaards, Gerard, Cauley, and Thorbjorn Olsen for me. So, all right, Noto, great to have you back. Anything else before we call it a show for this week?
Oh, it's so good to be back. And for everyone that was asking questions about the Showdown articles, they will be back this week. So, yeah, be on the lookout for those. And should be a fun couple months till football season.
All right. So with that, thanks to Steve for producing behind the scenes for us and joining the snake draft as well. Thanks to Noto for joining me as always. I'm Justin. Have a great week, everybody. We'll catch you back here next Tuesday, same time, same place. Until then, stay cool. Good luck. We'll catch you later.